Okay, your first NHL trade deadline, I was watching it. I was watching it live. I was watching James Duthie, and then he threw to you. I guess, how was that experience working? I know we talked off air how like it wasn't the most entertaining. Unfortunately, a lot of trades happened before the NHL trade deadline, but how's that experience for you?
It was really cool, honestly. Like every reporter is going to wish that there was some big news or some big trades to report on. And I always have to take the silver linings out of everything. And for me, it was great. Yes, the Winnipeg's biggest trade happened the night before with Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn going to Buffalo. But for me, silver lining was that, I was able to ease myself into my first trade deadline. Everything was pretty typical and what I expected. So I felt really prepared, felt really good for my hit and could really just focus on that. And then, keep my eyes and ears out and talk to some contacts about what was happening during the day. But I can just imagine what it would be like if some wild trades were breaking, right? Like that's kind of crazy. And I'm sure throughout my career, some things like that will happen and go down. But this was a really great way to ease in and see what a trade deadline takes to really put on, the nation's best show, right? Like TSN is that spot that viewers go to see what's up. Almost every single possible on-air talent that works in hockey at TSN was on the air, right? Which I love as a hockey fan growing up too. Like you're tuned in, you're dialed in, you're so excited to see everyone in the same room, some of your favorite characters, and it's a well-oiled machine. What's really cool behind the scenes is that everything's changing on the fly, right? Like if this trade breaks and it's bigger news than what was just expected to come up, obviously that's going in front of that, right? So it's really cool to see so many people coming together, working together to really just put out the best possible show.
Right. Yeah. Was it because there wasn't a lot of action that day, Danielle, like in terms of trades? Was it still chaotic behind the scenes? Was it still a busy day for you and TSN?
It was busy. It was a day where the trade deadline's happening, but then also like the team is skating, right? So I was covering the practice as I typically would. It was an optional, if I remember correctly. So it was not all the players out there. We still did some interviews after we talked to a couple people and things like that. So the day did go by really, really quickly because I had a couple hits for TV, one for radio, a couple things like that. But it wasn't as crazy for me as it could have been.
Were there any surprises covering your first NHL trade deadline?
I'd say so. Honestly, like this wasn't the biggest trade deadline as we talked about. Like there wasn't any huge crazy moves that, really, really shocked me. So I'm hopefully going to experience that down the road. But no, it was a great day.
Right. Because you're on the ground, Danielle, like, so how did the trades impact like the locker room or the staff, for example? Because it happens a lot.
Yeah, and it's tough because for the Winnipeg Jets specifically, like they haven't been in a seller's position for quite a little while. And even though they were still sellers, like none of their big players and stars were in that kind of position in their contracts to be traded. So I never expected any huge moves to rock this group, right? But if you look at someone like Logan Stanley, who was traded, he's been here for years and years and years, right? Almost a decade. And he is extremely tight with so many of these guys in the room. I think of Mark Scheifele as an example. The two of them are from the Kitchener-Waterloo area. They skate together in the summer sometimes, and they've become just such a close duo. And Logan Stanley has talked about how Scheifele has been, in his corner since day one. So you think about things like that. And the Winnipeg Jets do a great job at showing behind the scenes stuff in some of their content that they post online as well. And so you can see Stanley, saying goodbye to some of the guys. And it's just really, it's tough because those relationships, they understand it's a business, but those are at the forefront of a team's fabric. And it's really sad to see people get separated like that. But at the end of the day, business is business. Stanley wasn't 100% surprised. Like he knew there was a possibility that he would get moved. And so yeah, it was a little bit of a somber sense in the dressing room for a minute. But again, these are professional athletes. They have such strong mental capacities that they have been able to push forward.
Right. I love that line. Business is business. If you enjoyed listening in on my conversation with Danielle Bain, if you did, I appreciate it if you could please subscribe, like, and share this channel. See you next time.